So just a really quick video today. The brakes on this have started squeaking and the pads aren't all that old. So sometimes your brakes will squeak because the pads are low and there's a wear indicator with a little metal tab that rubs on the disc. It creates a horrific noise. If you hear someone cutting down the road and every time they touch the brakes it's squealing, chances are that's worn down brake pads that need replacing. This isn't that bad, it's just a little bit noisy. So I suspect it's not that much of an issue, but I'm going to pull the pads out anyway, take a look at them, make sure they're all good. If they are, there's a really quick fix to stop it from squeaking, which is just to put some grease on it. And it sounds really stupid, but a lot of modern pads, a lot of modern cars will have anti-squeal, anti-squeak kind of coatings and layers to them to stop them from doing it. But something this old, using OEM equivalent pads, chances are it probably doesn't. But it's, for me, I've always found it good practice anyway, just as extra security. And if it starts squeaking, it's like a 5-minute fix. So that's what I'm doing today. So first things first, jack the car up, take the wheel off. Now we've got access to the brakes, all we're going to do is remove the caliper, take the pads off. So it'll be one bolt at the top, one bolt at the bottom, pop that off, hang it somewhere, suspend it. I like to put mine up here so it's not pulling on the lines, and then we'll pull the pads off and take a look at them. So hopefully this comes out on the video, but these two bolts are a 14 on mine. No idea if that's normal or not, but that's what they are on this. So let's have a crack again. There we go. There we can clearly see there's loads of meat left on them. Some pads will have like a groove down the centre with like a wear indicator on it in itself, that when they run down to that sort of mark, they're due a change. These don't, they're just flat faced, but quite clearly there's heaps of meat left on them. What there also is a bit of rust, and I'd wager that's what's causing our squeak. So we'll sort that now. So I'm just going to brush the surface rust off. It's not going to matter too much about whether it's pristine or not, but we'll just get rid of the loose bit. And then the other one as well. There we go. What's also important as well is not forget these tabs on the end. So this is actually what's going to sit inside the carrier. So this is also a contact point. So we're going to clean that one off as well. Doesn't have to be perfect, just get any loose crust off of it. Both sides. And again, goes without saying, this is covered in brake dust. Try and not do this near your face. or just get someone else to do it, I suppose. Yeah, just clean any surface corrosion off. Good enough. I'll do the other one now. So I've done the contact points on the pads. I'm just going to do the same on the carrier, because where the pads sit, they need to move very slightly, but they need to move on these little clips. So if these are clogged up with brake dust or dirt or anything, if it can't move freely, that could also cause binding and various other issues. So we're just going to give these a brush off and then we'll get to greasing. So they're cleaned up now, nice and shiny. I'm not going to put grease on them because we're just going to put it on the pads. So we'll do the back pad first, and you can see the witness marks of where things have sat. So that's where the caliper, the actual piston, is in contact. So that's going to be a point we need to grease up. The two tabs on the ends, don't get any on the face, obviously. If you put grease on your brakes, bad day. So be careful, put it where you need it. Don't overdo it, because you don't want any of it falling onto the disc or anything, but just put a layer of, I don't even think I've said it, but copper grease is absolutely fine. That's all I put on. I put it on pretty much everything I take off, just on the off chance I need to take it off twice, which seems to always be the case. But yeah, we're going to stick some on here and put the pad back in, making sure these tabs are, there's enough grease on them to coat the sliders, but not so much that it's going to touch the disc or anything like that. So be careful, be sensible. I don't normally do this by hand, but I'm going to, because I'm being lazy. I can't be bothered to go and get something to spread this on. But I'm just going to put a layer on the back. So there you go. That's everywhere that the piston's going to touch. And then these tabs on the end, like I said, not heaps. You don't need to go mad with it. Just enough that it's going to coat the little brackets that it sits in, because it does need to move on those. The pads are kind of floating in place, as it were. Probably not the right terminology, but I don't care. Yeah, some on the ends, and that's fine. So you've got some on the back, some on the ends. So I'm just going to slide this one back into position now, and that's going to do what it needs to do. So it's the front pad now, and you can see that's where the end of the caliper sits, where it hooks over. So some there, follow that on the ends, and she'll be right to go. There you go, all covered. Try and wipe the grease off your hands when you're putting these back, just in case. There we go. Let's see if we can get it in first go. These clips like to fall off, so just be patient. Patience and careful. There you go, easy as that. Now we're just going to pop the caliper back on. Because we haven't changed anything, we haven't changed the disc, haven't changed the pads, we shouldn't need to push this back. So I'll see if we can get it to go on straight away. Yeah, there you go, so that's going to clear easily. Make sure the sliders are out the way. Just like that. Bolt in, job done. That shouldn't be squeaking anymore. We'll do this both sides, we can do the backs as well. This was the only one that was squeaking on mine, but it's probably, you know, good practice to give them all a check at the same time. Make sure your pads are wearing evenly and there's no other obvious issues and errors. But yeah, there you go. Should be brake squeak fixed in 5 minutes, even though it's probably a 10-minute video. I waffle, I talk. you're here on your own, and there's not a lot else what can be done really other than talk to yourself. So yeah, that's what we do. Just have a good old chat. Nice.